Welcome to Real Estate on the Rocks, where you get top shelf real estate conversations served straight up, never watered down. Here's your host, Dave Snowberger.
Welcome back.
See?
Every time. James brought it to my attention that I laugh every time I say welcome back. I don't know what it is.
Marshall's
it's just
already
welcome
confused.
back. In the studio today, we've got Alicia Huber,
Hey.
aka Taco, and the man behind the glass. The mime behind the glass. That's what he needs to be today, is the mime behind the glass.
You can't even do that. You made a noise. You can't even do that.
What?
James Mendez.
What's going on?
What's up, new
Not
guy?
much. Well, let's roll that beautiful bean footage. Let's get back into it real quick. We were talking about before the podcast started, before we started recording, I should say. What was it again?
The 6 key principles to grow your business.
Boom. Let's get it popping.
Let's do it.
Start with number 1.
Be more purposeful with networking.
What do you mean by that?
Well, I guess if you're going to network, you got to be purposeful, right? He's kind of in the sentence.
Kind of explains itself.
kind of an
All right,
example.
moving on. Number 2.
Let's just switch the words a little bit and then you got it.
Just a little example, I guess. When I go to get my hair cut and I get a business card from her when she's cutting my hair, I usually return the service. I say, hey, you gave me great service today.
You cut her hair?
Yeah, let me cut your hair now. I want to give it a whack at this. This looks easy. Also, when selling things on OfferUp or just whatever I had, I usually stick a business card in there. And 9 times out of 10, they usually pull it out and they say, hey, my sister's moving to town, or just whatever. I'm buying a dog today, actually.
Okay.
Same thing. He's like, oh, you're a realtor? Hey, guess what? I got someone moving to town too. And so I think that's kind of being purposeful. So if you're meeting people, dig deeper and find out who else they know and who else they can know that can help you. So
Right on.
That's right. Don't be a secret agent. So going back to the whole name tag, I always have my name tag on. I can't tell you how many conversations my name tag has started.
how many?
She can't tell you. She just told you.
So don't be a secret agent. Be proud of what you do.
Well, that's why I was talking about the name tag. I don't wear a name tag anymore. However, I know specifically 2 different occasions that I wore a name tag, and both times, obviously, they asked me if I was a realtor, and I was, instead of saying, duh, just
What the tag says.
yeah, that's what the tag says, doesn't it? Said, yeah, just kind of, you thinking about buying, thinking about selling. And both times they were thinking about buying. And
Nice.
so one was a VA. It's still my client to this day, and just, helped him get more than he thought he could. People have a general idea in their head of what they can buy or where they should buy or how much money they need down. And he was absolutely wrong about all of it. And so I actually got to provide him some guidance from this, and it all stemmed from there. I was buying a Fitbit.
Boom.
Yeah. I was buying a Fitbit, and he comes on. He's like, "Yeah, you got a name tag on." And then another one was at a gas station where I was sitting there, and I actually would buy this person at the gas station. I asked them what their favorite candy bar was. And I always saw him chewing on something every time I got gas. So I was like, what's your favorite candy bar? What are you always eating? And he told me. And so every time I would go in, I would buy one for him also and to give him my business card and say, hey, if you ever hear anybody that's looking to buy or sell around here, let me know. And sure enough, boom, he hooked me up with somebody else in there. He was like, hey, this is the guy. And then boom, we met up, networked, and I sold him something.
I love it. I believe timing is everything. So if you're always talking about it, the right time will come along. It's not going to happen every time, right? So don't get your hopes up.
Right.
But don't be a secret agent.
Also, everyone else has a business as well. So if you can figure out how to
That's
bring
right.
value to their business, they will reciprocate and bring value to your business.
Right. Alicia's hot over there.
my
She's
God.
fanning herself,
It's so hot in here.
glistening on her
All
forehead.
these sexy men.
Oh, jeez. Oh, my goodness.
She's standing next to me.
Dave. All right, number 2, let's move on here. Improve time management. James, you can speak to that a little bit.
Yeah, time blocking is very important. Not as much as you want to kind of wing things and kind of flow through your day, you'll find yourself a lot less productive. And so I've started time blocking and kind of filling in the spots. So like wake up at the same time every day, try and go to bed as much as you can at the same time, so you can start off a good morning. Eat your meal, come into work, have a little priority of when you're going to, do your lead gen, and just kind of stick to that as best you can. I mean, obviously there's things that are going to pop up. There's going to be a buyer or seller kind of want or need, and you got to put those in priority of when to take them, but try and, keep your lead gen time to yourself.
I scheduled something last week, and I guess I accidentally hit AM, and James called me up and said, hey, can you change that? It's really PM. I was like, really, man?
Yes, because
it's the first thing we're doing Tuesday morning.
I know. Yep. It's on my calendar. And that's what I tell people, like girlfriend, anybody, they'll send like, hey, I want to do this. I'm like, cool. Send me an invite. My financial guy that we're meeting before, actually, he beat me to the punch. I was about to send him a message for our next meeting and say, hey, send me a calendar invite so I know exactly what time, where I'm going, or if it's a phone call. And then message popped up. It's like, perfect.
You just said we're meeting. You didn't mean us.
No, he and I.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all about routine, right? It goes back to the whole concept that this industry or this business is simple, not easy, right?
Yeah.
Correct.
So having that routine, that time block.
If I didn't time block, I'd be on the couch watching TV.
The best way to put this into your head is that if it's not on your schedule, it doesn't exist.
That's right.
I mean, it just doesn't exist, and you can't keep a schedule in your head if you don't plan. If you fail to plan,
you plan to fail.
You plan to fail, right? There it is. I love butchering every one of these.
Yeah, it's good. That's good. I like it.
You guys always know what I mean, though, and bail me out, so I appreciate that.
It's you can kind of do some of it before you get busy, but as soon as you start getting busy, that thing just goes right in the trash can.
I'm still a firm believer that I can remember everything I have to do, everything all day long, and I'm just so far past that by about 3 years, but I still haven't realized it. So I do it also.
Right.
You know, as I book things in my head, and I want to go to my calendar and create. I just never created that habit. And so instead what I did was I leveraged myself by, which takes us into number 3, I leveraged myself by hiring an admin at first to really start, an assistant at first to start keeping more, better time of my schedule and what I was doing, and to leverage a lot of things I was doing and overloading myself with where I wasn't keeping my schedule off of my plate onto hers.
That's right.
No.
So
Yep.
talk a little bit about leverage over there, Ms. Hooper.
Yeah, leverage. So basically, when you get to the position in your career where you can leverage out, you want to do away with things that don't make you money, right? So the busy work.
Right.
Whether that's an assistant or hiring somebody to do your contract to close work.
Not just that, change your oil at your house.
I was gonna say,
mow your
hire
yard.
a
Things that I
maid.
used to like doing.
Can you mute Marshall real quick? Beep. Go ahead. Go ahead, Alicia. He's sorry for interrupting.
That's okay. So that applies to personal and business, right? So as Marshall led into it very beautifully. Thank you. Yeah.
Marshall doesn't change his own oil, so I don't know what he was saying.
Hire a maid, whatever it looks
Dude,
like.
he's rocking a Rolex over here, and he changes his own oil.
Lies. I'm in a room of lies. So yeah, leverage is a beautiful thing.
It is. It is. I've learned to leverage a lot of things off my plates. One of the first things I did was hire a buyer's agent, which introducing Marshall Tucker.
Hey.
You know, he was one of the first people, one of the first additions to my team. I could have went with the admin, but however, I wasn't quite making the money at that time. And so I leveraged myself because I was working both ends, and I was figuring I was getting exhausted working both ends, and I really needed to just give up some of what I had to somebody solid enough to work them. And that's where I met Marshall and brought him in and explained, like, hey, this is the team concept I'm going to go with. I tried the team thing a little bit before, failed miserably. I talk about that very openly. Yep. You know, I thought teams were a little bit different structure, but the Red Book taught me a little bit different. The Red Book is the Millionaire Real Estate Agent by, what's his name? GK?
Gary Keller.
Gary.
What'd you say?
Gary Keller.
Oh,
My dog.
Yeah. What's up? Shout out to Gary. What's up, man?
Yeah. I need my mustache waxed back.
I would love to know, you don't have to answer now, the stats of before you had your buyer's agent. How many listings you were taking versus after? I would love to know that.
I could put it together real quick for you, but I mean, it shot through the roof.
Oh,
I mean,
sure.
I went from being, I think maybe a $3 million, a capper, like $3 or $4 million a year, immediately to doubled it to 8. And then as I added, and I finally got an admin was the big one, when I broke the 10 million mark. Yeah. You know, when I got to get all that stuff off our plate, and all I did was focus on us selling. And Marshall worked buyers strictly, I worked sellers strictly. You know, and we would work FSBOs and things like that together. You know, he would go with me, and I kind of used him as my crutch, you know, and we had a good team dynamic going right there. And in like the truest sense of a team, we would go in there, and where might I be failing in the conversation to not connect with that person? Marshall was there to kind of come in at his angle.
Gaps,
right.
I like it.
And I work really well with other D's and some I's, and Marshall works better with C's and S's, you know, is more analytical than I am. And so it worked well. And so once again, that was a good example of leverage.
Love it.
Before we move on, you have anything else?
No, that's great. Circle back to the time improvement. The one thing That book really kind of dials it in, and then you can kind of expand from there. But also, the Red Book also talks about scheduling and managing time and leverage and stuff like that. So those are two killer ones to kind of get you in the, moving in the right direction.
Not only are they killer ones, they're Keller ones. We're not just pumping Keller Williams books, nice. I promise.
No.
Or GK books.
That's really good.
Yes,
Fanatical Prospecting.
They're both great books.
Another good one.
Yeah, you're in love with that book.
I can't.
Nothing wrong with that.
Cannot stop talking about it.
It's a good book.
Nothing wrong with that. I bought it for you.
Aww.
Oh, so sweet. Number 4, let go of fear of saying things as a grown man, like, so sweet. All right, let go of fear and mindset. We talk about mindset a lot.
It's huge.
And really what it is letting go of that fear. Most people have that fear of, what are people going to think about me? Mm-hmm. If I do a video, if I put this on social media or I take a picture of myself with the Grand Canyon behind me, are people going to make fun of me because it's me and I'm taking a picture and think I'm fooling myself? Maybe.
Yeah.
But who cares?
Yeah,
Let it go.
Yep.
Let it go. Top of mind awareness. Hammer it in their head of who you are, what you do. 80-20. So make sure that 20 is very specific of what you do.
That's right.
Put your mindset there. Go ahead.
Yeah, you got it, man.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah,
I just knocked it right out of the park.
Am I still in timeout?
So it's a beautiful thing if you think about it, because the whole concept behind mindset, get out of your head. I mean, you're working on your head, but get out of your head.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I had it over the weekend again. I was out at the lake and I was, just.
Where was the invite?
Yeah, what the heck? Oh, crickets.
I want to hang out with you on the weekends. I get enough of you Monday through Friday. I don't want to hang out with you on the weekends. And I drank with you last week.
I don't want to talk about that.
Okay. I wouldn't want to talk about that either.
I have pictures.
Right. All right. So anyway, so I had an example of that over the weekend. Was I took a picture of myself out on the lake, and it was the boat going 50 miles an hour, so the water was splashing up, and the water was in my hair, in the birds, and just really sunny. And I took that picture, and it turned out good. And then I was posting it onto I was changing on my profile pic, and I stopped. I was just like, I'm not going to change my picture. I don't want to feel the bullshit comments from my friends, because they'll text me and just kind of like, oh, that's a really great, just kind of messing with me. But then I had to remember that I don't post things for my friends. I post things for the general masses of just kind of keeping my name out there. That's really one of the only reasons I use social media is to self-promote.
Right.
And so.
And the story that we create in our head versus reality, I mean,
right on.
Like I said, just get out of your head. Just go. Have no fear. Jump. Don't be scared.
I got a lot of the same fears of self-promotion that you mentioned, but my fear of failing my family, that commitment I have, is greater. So push through it.
I mean, what if somebody saw that picture and was like, oh man, you have a boat too? Like I need more space to store my boat. And then it turns into a deal. I mean, you never know.
You never know.
Right?
No, and I mean, it's the reference we always use, the drunk monkey.
Yeah.
Getting on our back and telling us not to do something. The drunk monkey, it can be the angel on one side of the shoulder, or the devil on the other side, whichever it is, telling you, post it. Don't post it, All right.
Okay, so question. Did you change your profile picture?
No.
Go do it, man.
I'm going to do it today, but I just didn't want to use that picture.
No, use that picture.
Well, no, because my sunglasses, you can see my hand sticking up with my cell phone. I don't like it.
That doesn't matter. Oh my gosh. See?
Got one like that right now.
All right, I'll post it today.
Thank you.
Cool.
Sweet.
Let's move on.
Number 5, ask for referrals.
Do you ask everybody for referrals?
Yes, I do.
What do you say?
Do you know anybody looking to buy or sell? No, it's a little bit more than that. So it really depends on the client and where we are in the transaction. So usually when they're like, oh my gosh, when somebody thanks you for whatever you're doing, that is the prime time to say, I appreciate that. Do you know anybody else that I can serve like you? Or whatever that looks like.
Right.
Yeah. That's the prime time is when they say thank you.
Marshall.
And you do it more than once.
What?
That's true. You make it a habit.
It's part of my first appointment, whether it's a listing appointment or a consultation.
Well, you know what I'm going to say. I mean, there's 2 types of referrals. There's the sphere referrals. There we go, Dave. All right. And then you have the referral business. So basically other agents out there all across the US are using you a ton in Austin, Texas to, send you clients. So talk about that a little bit. Where do they differ? What do you ask for referrals from everybody on your sphere side?
Everybody and anybody. On the Facebook side of it, you got to make sure your profile is set up so that they can easily see that you're an agent. They can easily find your phone number and they can see what city you work in. I don't know how many times I look up other agents' profiles and you can't find any of that information.
Secret agents.
Yeah, you have to go to Google and start looking for it. I'm not going to do all that. I'm going to find the first person that's easy to contact. I'm going to talk with them a little bit and probably send it to them. So, those are those kind of referrals. If I see someone out there talking about it, yes, I'm going to ask for it. I'm going to call them. I'm going to send them a video message. I'm going to be in their face and let them know who I am and what I can do for them. As far as other referrals, yeah, I ask everybody. Depends on where we're at in the transaction. Yep. Once they're happy, once they're elated, and they're like, "Wow, we found this house. It's going great." And cool. Hey, do you have anyone else, a brother, sister, people from church, someone that you can introduce me to, and just go that way.
Yep. And on a listing appointment, I say, when friends and family see that you're selling their house, they get a little bit excited too. So if you hear anybody asking about the market or what did your realtor say or whatever, here's my business card, and I would love the opportunity to talk with them as well.
Right. One thing I do for referrals is a lot of times I have a hard time coming out and asking for them. I don't have a problem with it with existing clients. Yeah. However, I do strategically bring up that I'm a realtor in any situation possible. Absolutely. Any situation I'm in, I always think, how can I tactfully insert that I'm a realtor into this conversation? Yesterday, someone at my house picking up one of their kids after art day or whatever it was. Book club. They were doing, they had to paint a little picture. So I was gone. I came home. There was a lady there and I recognized a car of, Nicole saying this is someone that's going to move over to this side of the neighborhood. They're looking for 5 acres. And so when I came in, I just started talking about, one of my sellers just did this. And one of my sellers just did that. And, I've got, 5 acres over here and 20 acres over here and blah, blah, blah. And, they're like, I didn't know you were a realtor. And I was like, no, Nicole never tells anybody, she thinks it's whatever. And like, oh, okay, well, this is what we're looking for. And so I was able to open a dialogue there. Not saying she'll use me, but at least now I have a better shot.
You planted the seed.
Right. And so that's what I do all the time. It's the seed's going to grow whether I planted the right thing or not. Right. So that made no sense.
Nope.
I went with a different analogy to butcher. It was going to butcher it either way, so it didn't really matter. Anyway, so
that analogy goes to mindset, but we'll cover that.
Right. Yeah. So I was actually staring at mindset on the board right there. What an idiot. But yep.
Well, number 5 loops back to number 1, right? So when you're being purposeful and you're networking,
right,
or your communication, not being a secret agent, etc., you're asking for referrals.
And that could have been considered networking. That could have gone in the networking bucket because when the parents came back to the house, I mean, there's one guy there. He's just kind of, hey, what are homes selling for in the market? He already had asked me that when he showed up, and he's just like, hey, why are so many homes on for sale here? Are things good right now? And I was like, well, yeah. And then every time the taxes come out, people see them, and I mean, people are leveraged to the max.
Yep.
So $100 when their taxes go up, and there's going to be $100 a month, $1,200 a year. They gotta go.
Yep.
So they put their homes for sale. And he's like, okay, that makes sense. Our taxes went up by this, and I was like, you didn't fight him at all? He didn't even know about it. And so, dude, next year you already missed it, but this next year let me run the comps for you.
For sure.
But then he lives in one of the nicer houses in the neighborhood, so it's gonna be a little bit harder for him. Moving on, number 6.
Number 6, don't be afraid of social media.
We talked about this already a little bit.
Yeah, Dave, you want to touch on the profile picture or no?
No, I'm not going to touch that. However, you guys know me.
Yes.
All right. I know a lot of our listeners more than likely have gone out and tried to discover who the 4 of us are as the Top Shelf agents. And then gone and looked at our personal pages, I would think. You can see I'm not afraid of social media.
No, you're good,
I didn't change my profile pic, but that was just not that picture. I'm going to change it, whether it's going to be that picture or not. More than likely, there's nothing I'm afraid of on social media. I mean, I've got a story running now for at least three weeks to a month, a constant story every day. I got something in there for 24 hours at least.
Nice.
Today, it's my dog's birthday. Mm-hmm. He got a little hat and he got a little cake, and I took a picture of him. So I put that on there, and that's typically what somebody that was, I would say, is selling real estate at a high level and deals with like a lot of the stuffy homes that we do because we're in the higher price point.
Yeah.
I don't care. They're either going to like me or they're not.
That's right.
Right. And so, boom.
And the beautiful thing with social media, one way that you can make sure that you're connecting with people is share stories. So instead of saying, hey, do you know anybody looking to buy or sell real estate? Just share a story. I just saved my buyer $5,000 and they're actually receiving a check at closing.
Nice.
Like just share stories.
Nice.
Yeah.
was actually listening to something the other day that was talking about the types of things that people directly engage most with on social media. It's 4 F's: food, fashion, fitness, and family.
Right.
So, and all of those you can tie. You don't need to directly tie them back to, real estate, but those kind of things get more engagement and will attract more, more comments and engagement with other people. So you keep doing that and keep it moving, and then you just respond to their, responses.
That's right.
Kind of keep the flow going.
Now, James, when you joined our team, you had your profile locked down. And I guess the last 2 or 3 months, you've opened it up to public status. So how has that changed your life? Did it kill you?
No, I have to change. I have to significantly limit some of the stuff I post, though, because military and other things, I'm not like there's reasons why it's private. Well, then, some personal stuff. So I opened it up a little bit. People were pretty good so far. I've only had one person so far mention or bring up something that was another business. So I had to squash that one real quick. But
so the beautiful thing with social media, sorry,
no, good,
is you honestly have no idea who is looking at your profile, right? Especially with Facebook, like it doesn't tell you. Like LinkedIn tells you, hey, so and so viewed your profile. Or do y'all have like a?
We know.
All right, cool. Anyway, for most people, you don't know who is looking at your Facebook profile, so you have no idea who's watching. I can't tell you how many people have told me, oh my gosh, you're so entertaining, or whatever it is, and they've never reacted to a post.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm like, stalker. No, I'm just kidding. So you never know, right? So that's why.
Yeah, a lot of people are just consumers. So they don't necessarily engage. Like I'll like stuff and comment on a few things. But a lot of stuff is just consumption. So people are just, feeding through. Yeah. But that's how they kind of keep connected with you, like a family, is out of state. Yeah. So that's how I connect with a lot of my family and just keep up with them is through social media.
Yep.
Well, the whole thing about people not engaging, I mean, there's basically social proof of that. You can see it, and it's certain in certain things you post. I noticed on Facebook stories the engagement there. The other day I posted something, I can't remember even what it was. It was the thing where we were doing our warm up in here. We were talking and you kind of just started talking over me. You were clearly intoxicated.
Alicia.
Totally
clearly intoxicated. But that video, that little 10 seconds or whatever it was on Facebook stories got almost 300 views, right? I didn't post it anywhere else, but I got 300 views. And I noticed in there, like those people never interact or like anything that I do.
Right.
And there's some people that I know well, and they never like anything. But like you said, I can't remember the 4 F's, but
food.
Yeah, right. I mean, I started. I have Wilco Eats, right, with food, so the engagement I got off of Wilco Eats when I first started it was it went absolutely gangbusters. So my real estate page, my business page on real estate, only has about 485 to 500 people on there, right, that have liked my page, and they're pretty much all direct friends of mine.
Yeah.
Out of 4,000 people, I would say about 10% of the people I actually know on there, right, and so when I posted something like when I lost 60 pounds. I got somewhere like 850 likes,
nice,
right, and 300 comments.
Wow!
And so that was cool.
That's incredible.
But what that does also is that helps your what's that? The little algorithm.
Yeah,
I know the term for it. I'm forgetting it as always.
Well, it is algorithm.
Right. Well, it jumps into that. However, your relevant score. So it jumps you up in there, and so that helped out tremendously. However, go back to the food stuff. I was able to get, basically when I launched Wilco Eats, I was able to get 1,500 people within 3 days. It took me 4 years to get 400 people on my regular page,
Isn't that
right?
crazy?
And then I backed off of Wilco Eats a little bit. Like, we just had to start selling real estate, and it's been hard to get out and do the videos and do both and really leverage that. That's not something I can leverage. That has to be me in those videos.
Absolutely.
Right. And so I have to continue to do those kind of things. Go ahead.
That's a great point. With social media, that is the one thing that you do not leverage.
Right.
Because you need to be authentic so people can relate to you. So do not hire anybody to post to your social media.
Well, it's like this podcast.
That's my opinion.
Yeah.
I screw up all the time when it comes to butchering quotes and whatever else. It's completely funny, but that's just who I am in person.
Yeah.
If we were in the office right now just having the conversation, I would at least butcher 2 or 3 quotes.
Yeah,
This
is
and
real,
so
right?
We leave it alone. And before I was like, oh, we can't air that. We talked about this specifically. Yeah, everything's got to be perfect. And I realized, no, it doesn't.
Nope.
I mean, we don't have the time to get things perfect with me.
Perfect
that
doesn't
would
exist.
Yeah, that would be an all-day show.
Yeah.
But it's fun. I mean, it shows shows how we actually are. And so some of the stuff like we mentioned in another show about how you're like, no, that's horrible show. We're not going to air that at all. And I play it back and do my normal editing. I'm like, that actually came out pretty good. And so I launch it anyway. And
sometimes against my better judgment, but he hasn't.
But it comes out good.
He hasn't stepped over the line yet. When I said don't play something, he's gone and done it. And it's just kind of like,
close.
And it conveys from us having a conversation in here, and certainly since we added these earphones, it was a game changer because I can actually hear what we're saying and hear what we sound like now. And so since we've had kind of the upgraded equipment in here, it's changed. So I mean, it's actually improved. So with that, let's go ahead and get out of here.
So if you're taking notes, I'll read through the 6 again.
Oh, sorry.
Number 1, be more purposeful with networking. Number 2, improve time management. Number 3, leverage. Number 4, let go of fear and work on your mindset. Number 5, ask for referrals. And last but not least, don't be afraid of social media.
Do not be afraid of social media.
That's right.
Don't be afraid also to leave a 5-star review on any podcast player that you're listening to. Yeah. Join us over on Top Shelf Agents. That's on Facebook. And we do also have an Instagram. Tag us in or hashtag, what is it? Top Shelf Agents?
Makes sense.
Yeah, makes sense. And of course, we all have the same things for Real Estate on the Rocks, so join us there. I'd like to thank our sponsor, Mike Harrell with Guaranteed Rate. He is a complete badass when it comes to mortgages. If you need his help, just reach out to us at info@realestateontherocks.com. I'm Dave Snowberger with Alicia, Marshall, and James signing out.
I'm out.
Bye, y'all.